Hi, everybody. This is Will from Oasis Protocol. Thank you all for joining us today for this ecosystem call. This is a new initiative where we're trying to update our community on all the exciting things happening in our ecosystem. We're going to try to do it about once monthly. So thank you for all attending the inaugural ecosystem call. We have a great lineup of guests today. So yeah, without further ado, can each of you maybe introduce yourselves, your role in the company, and then sort of what your protocol at a high level does. Maybe Anton first.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you all. So we build accumulated finance. It's an omni-chain liquid staking protocol, and we recently launched the liquid staking for ROSE token on the Oasis Sapphire testnet. And so it's fully permissionless liquid staking. So users are able to stake ROSE tokens directly on the EVM layer and receive the staking yield from the consensus layer where tokens are actually staked. So we also integrated with other networks as we are omni-chain, and we are really happy to join Oasis ecosystem. And so you're welcome to try our app on the testnet, and we will be launching on the mainnet later this month, or probably August.
Awesome. Yeah, we're really excited for that. Maybe Jake, then Lucian, and then Renat, you can go at the very end.
Okay, so hi William and all. Thank you for having me today. So I'm Jake, and I am CEO of Thorn Protocol. So today I'm very happy to here to give talk about me and also our protocol about Thorn Protocol. So Thorn Protocol is a spatial stable swap. That enable you to swap a privately stable coin on Sapphire network, or you also can swap grow price asset and enjoy cross-chain facility. So we step on Oasis Sapphire and thus enable the privately stable coin. And in the future, we also offer the cross-chain swap. So it means you have the token on different chain, and then you can use our protocol to swap on Sapphire, and in this way utilize the privately in the future. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Lucian?
Hello, everybody. Thanks a lot for having us on here today. It's really nice. I'm Lucien, the founder of Oasis. Oasis is the first launchpad on Oasis network, but not only. Oasis will let the users make proposals about how Oasis spends its revenue. Users will also be able to propose IDOs and do a lot of other exciting things that will be unveiled soon.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're excited. Launchpads are critical to sort of the success of any ecosystem. And finally, Renat.
Hi, everybody. I'm Renat with Protofire DevDAO. Protofire is a developer DAO. We ship growth solutions to projects in Web3. Unlike other service DAO, we specialize in bootstrapping demand side. Specifically, our sweet spot are money market stablecoins and infrastructure that powers them when it comes to risk and decentralization of single points of or dependencies like oracles and architecture of those next-gen money market stablecoins. And I'm here because of Wine Money project. So we'll talk about it later. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, I think that the first place to start, Renat, is to maybe get a little more context into you and your team, and sort of you guys had, or Vine had an interesting announcement yesterday, or even maybe this morning for some people, regarding handing over sort of future, or at least the interim future of the protocol to Protofire. And so I'd love for you to just say a few words about your background, with CDP stablecoins, with maybe Maker, Liquidity, Aave, with them, and maybe a few words about where you see the future of Vine Money going.
My experience with the CDP type stablecoins, first time I got involved was just a community call for MakerDAO in I think January 2016, where there was a call where I got to meet the individuals behind this project MakerDAO. There weren't many projects at the time, and so I kept following the community. And a few years later, when multi-collateral DAI was planned to be launched, I really wanted to be involved in this new way of being able to to borrow using your collateral without selling it, and a variety of different collaterals that we could add and that we had to add at MakerDAO to get rid of dependency on ETH, because when ETH would go down, everyone would need to buy ETH, right? And to repay CDPs, it would make the DAI price to be like 103, 105. Like we didn't have much of a DEXs and liquidity on-chain liquidity yet. And the opposite was true. When ETH would go up, everyone would lever up, mint new DAI, sell. Now DAI is 98 cents, right? And so one of the ways to solve the problem was to add collaterals that don't correlate price movement-wise with ETH. And I was one of the teams waiting for multi-collateral DAI to go live, and I got involved in we had this role called interim risk teams to help decentralize the risk team of MakerDAO. So I was given one of the new collaterals and had to calculate stability fee, loan to value, debt ceiling, liquidation penalty. And that's how I learned about risk side of the multi-collateral stablecoins, how to assess the risk, how to decompose it, how to price it, and that was the beginning of my involvement with more projects in the space. Most of the people who were contributing to projects like MakerDAO or on the money market side like Aave, Compound, right? Most of us are now doing slightly more innovative things because of the projects that we were with now very big, too big to fail, right? And they cannot afford experimental design tests in the wild. So I'm looking forward for applying everything I learned. And as a team at Protofire DevDAO, we're about 80 individuals working for a number of projects in Web3 and contributing and working with projects ranging from chains and foundations like Ethereum Foundation, and probably like half and half are L1, L2 chains, mostly EVM types, and another half are protocols on top of the chains. Probably majority of them are in DeFi, and my specialty in the team that I'm leading at Protofire DevDAO, we focus on next-gen money market stablecoins, and our specialty is risk of collateral, risk of bad debt, how to isolate it, how to price it, and end-to-end operational security for protocols. And that's an intro about myself and about Protofire.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Renat, and for the community. We've been working with Protofire since like the very start of Sapphire. They actually were the ones who built our Gnosis Safe fork, Oasis Safe, and we couldn't be happier, with the sort of collaboration that we've had so far. And we're really excited to have them sort of, spearhead the interim future of Vine, and collaborate with them on a deeper level, not just for the security and the multi-sig of Oasis ecosystem, but, within DeFi as well. So now, shifting gears a bit, I want to just, allow everyone else, Accumulated Finance, Thorn, and Dausis, to sort of just talk about, what their particular protocol does, liquid staking, stable swaps, and launch pads, in case anyone is not familiar with that. So maybe Anton, then Jake, then Lucien, you guys can just give a brief overview of what a liquid staking protocol does, what a stable swap does, and what a launchpad does.
Okay, I can start. So the liquid staking is a way to stake your tokens while you keep them liquid, and you can use your tokens while they're staked in other DeFi apps like DeFi Legals or Money Legals. So, for example, when you stake tokens on Accumulated Finance, you receive the liquid staking derivative called ST Rose. It's pretty similar to ST Ether or other liquid staking derivatives. And so these liquid staking derivatives earn staking rewards. In case of Oasis, we deploy on Oasis Sapphire, and the liquid staking rewards come permissionlessly from the consensus layer, and users are able to use the ST tokens, like ST Rose, in other DeFi applications. So, for example, we will have a stable swap pool on Thorn protocol, and users will be able to swap ST Rose to Rose instantly without waiting for usual unstaking period of 14 days on Oasis. Also, liquid staking derivatives of Accumulated Finance, they are ERC-4626 compatible. Basically, it's the Ethereum standard for staking vault, where tokens are staked, and the staking KL is accumulating in and out compounded inside the vault. And so in this case, this vault token can be used as a collateral in, for example, CDP protocols or lending protocols, and all of this while you keep earning staking rewards. So, for example, you can deploy various strategies like stake tokens and liquid staking, earn staking rewards, and at the same time you can deposit this staking vault token into the CDP protocol and borrow some stable coins, and for example, create a leverage staking by looping this process.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think we were going to talk a little bit about composability a bit later, but thank you so much for breaking down how liquid staking sort of empowers the ecosystem. Not only do people now have basically instant ways to exit their staked Rose positions if they need liquidity for some reason, but it also has all these other interesting propositions that empower CDPs, empower stable swaps, and basically it's like an iterative effect or a multiplicative effect on like what can be done within the ecosystem. So thanks for explaining that a bit.
Liquid staking gives users flexibility, so you can go with usual unstaking if you want, or you can go to stable swap pools and swap instantly. And so it also creates arbitrage opportunities for traders that arbitrage peg of the stable liquid staking derivatives. and so on.
Awesome. And speaking of stable swaps, that's a great introduction or a great transition into Thorn protocol. What is a stable swap?
So yeah, Thorn protocol is a stable swap, right? And as I mentioned before, so we are similar to the curve finance on the Ethereum. So as you know, stable swap is decentralized chain and based on AMM, but we focus on the stable coin or crypto asset with very close price. And in this way, we have trader swap the token with the lowest slip rate and also enhance the efficiency for liquidity provider. And we step on the Oasis Sapphire, and in this way, we enable the privately stable coin swap. And for the Thorn protocol, is one of the pioneer stable swap that we also enable the AI. So in this way, in our protocol, we create a AI wallet, AI enabled wallet to provide advanced trading experience for user across different blockchain network at the same time. So our system contains mainly 5 products. The first one that I mentioned before is the stable swap, the exchange protocol for private stable coins and swap with low slip rate and transaction fees. And the second product is the liquidity, the liquidity pool that allow user to provide funds and earn trading fees. And the third one is AI enabled wallet. So it's based on the abstraction, account abstraction. So based on the account abstraction smart contract, the wallet maybe we can offer the smart trading strategy for the user. And the next one, number 4, is the lending pool. So the protocol for lending and borrowing crypto assets. And at this time, we are discussing about offer to the user a kind of the alloy asset. It means you can, combine existing stablecoin together and to build up, a kind of the stablecoin and use in our ecosystem. And the last one is governance, the mechanism for fee collection and distribution. Yeah, and at the time, Thorn is on the testnet of Sapphire, so you can try and give us your feedback. And of course, we always eager to listen to your true and feeling about our product. And we have a plan to enable Thorn to come to the mainnet of Sapphire in the next month. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And, I think that stable swaps often sort of serve as a gel within DeFi ecosystem. If you have different bridged assets, if you have sort of fragmented liquidity within an ecosystem, stable swaps are basically the way that these fragmented liquidities can interact with one another. And I think this is really exciting and really opens up what can be done in the DeFi space as well as just in general for our ecosystem. And finally, Lucien from Oasis, maybe you can talk about your launchpad and where that fits into the DeFi ecosystem as well.
So yeah, we are building the first launchpad on Oasis network, and we are trying to provide a secure place for the entrepreneurs to access funding. So the main infrastructure is the launchpad, in which we will incubate different projects on the Oasis ecosystem. The launchpad is filled by different tiers depending on the amount of Oasis tokens the user is holding. And the launchpad is built around a DAO. So the user will be involved directly in our venture. The objective is to develop the launchpad with the help of the community. So the community will be able to make proposals about IDOs. The community will be able to propose their own IDOs. So if a community member has an idea of a token or even a meme coin, the community member will be able to make a proposal on the DAO. And if he gets enough votes, we will list his token on our launchpad. The other side of the DAO is about the revenue. The user will be able to vote to propose about how we will spend DAO's revenue. So the objective in this case is for the user to feel involved in the platform, but also for us to distribute custom rewards to the user. And the final objective of the launchpad mixed with the DAO is to get to a high user retention ratio.
Awesome. Thank you, Lucien. And yeah, if I can just, I think, launchpads are critical to like the democratization of, the community and funding within any ecosystem. It's a one-place shop where the community can come to and they can see, what projects are coming, which projects they would like to sort of allocate their funding to, and sort of, yeah, I think, at least in the last cycle, we saw that launchpads were and good launchpads were critical to whether, an ecosystem was successful or not. And I know I said finally before, but I realized that we had one more. We're not, we talked a bit about, what you're working with CDPs was previously, but maybe you can just go over what a CDP is, what Vine is, and, where your place in the ecosystem will be, at least in regards to Vine.
Mm-hmm. CDP stands for collateral debt position, just a name for to represent the key concept of putting something that has value as collateral and being able to mint a stable coin that is not deposited by anyone else. Like in Aave, for example, if you want to borrow, you first deposit something of value as collateral, and then you borrow the other asset, let's say a stable coin. And the key difference between CDP style stable coins and a way as a mechanism to borrow, and let's say money markets like Aave or Compound designs, these are the two main mechanisms that are used in DeFi to power the use case of borrowing, right? Using something that you have as collateral. If you want to borrow, you pretty much, whenever you're making such transaction in DeFi, you are likely to be using like 95% chance you are either using one of these engines, one or the other, right? And the difference between the two is that if you're using the first mechanism, like the CDP collateral debt position type stable coins, you are minting a stable coin you are borrowing, while when you are using the second architecture, like the money market type of architecture, like Aave and Compound, what you are borrowing, the origin of that asset that you are borrowing, it has been deposited by somebody else. Then the difference here is that unlike money markets like Aave Compound, we don't need anyone to deposit the borrowable asset into a protocol first, right? No one has to deposit DAI into Maker DAO in order for you to borrow, right? You mint it yourself, right? And this represents the two different kind of approaches. They have both like pros and cons. They serve different use cases and so on and so forth. So Will, did I answer your question about like helping audience understand what the CDP is and a little bit more?
Yes, that's a great overview of what a CDP is. And, I think it's every one of these technologies is critical, but I think where I see CDPs is super useful in Oasis is, I think stablecoins are critical. These abilities that to have parked liquidity that you doesn't have any sort of risk of volatility or has mitigated or minimized risk of volatility is critical to the success of any ecosystem. And right now, the only stablecoins that exist on Oasis are bridge stablecoins. And those are great. We love our bridge partner Seller. But at the same time, we've seen many ecosystems collapse due to bridge hacks or anything like that. And so where I see CDP as one, creating demand for rows, two, being composable, which we're going to get into composability in the next question with all these other assets. But three, in creating a native stablecoin that mitigates bridge risk, so that if the bridge fails, we still have this Vine Money stablecoin, and if Vine Money fails, we still have this bridge stablecoin. Not that we expect either one to fail, but it's important in terms of risk mitigation to have these sort of uncorrelated, as you said earlier, risk assets that serve the same purpose, and that's really where I see stablecoins helping our ecosystem. I don't know. Maybe, do you have any extra words to say about that, Renat, or we can move on to the next question?
Well, it's to how I would add to it is basically with dealing with the risk, right? You have pretty much three things you can do with it, right? You can either retain the risk, do nothing, right? You can mitigate the risk and prevent possibility or likelihood of some events that may affect the users or result in the loss of funds, right, from occurring, or you can transfer the risk, right? And so anything about that, now applying it to, for example, the bridges, right? Diversification is probably the mechanism how to mitigate the risk, right? Is to avoid single point of failure, right? As a chain, right? It's important to make sure that the user experience will not be affected or will be affected, but there are some ways to what can users do in case, let's say, a single breach providing the service for the network fails, right? If there will be, let's say, a second breach, right, then at least there is a way to bring emergency liquidity into a chain with the DEXs and thanks to projects like Torn, right? You would be able to swap one thing to another, right, and get the liquidity out of a chain and onto other chains where majority of liquidity lives. I mean, it's another problem we have as a community, right? It's fragmentation of all of this liquidity. So having two bridges would be nice to have for Sapphire, because it would ultimately attract more TVL and cheaper liquidity, because of this risk will be mitigated, right? Without a second breach, it's kind of if unlikely, of course, but it's a non-zero probability that something may happen. In general, everyone knows that breach risks, mint attacks, all sorts of breach failures were some of the largest loss events in the past couple of years in the space. When it comes to stable coins and money markets, our concern we have is to avoid events that happened in the past already. But for example, everyone remembers an event where a wormhole breach had a mint attack, and a bunch of ETH was minted on Solana. And obviously that caused bad debt to money markets that accepted this collateral. And now suddenly someone minted a gazillion of those ETH and deposited this collateral and then borrowed the other tokens, right? So obviously it's a nightmare scenario for any project that uses breached asset as collateral. So having more choice is always better than having only one choice. So that would be something to add on this front.
Yeah, thank you for that, and those extra words. Yeah, maybe a bit of alpha for our community that's on the call today, but we hope to announce another bridge in July. We have everything in place. It's just a matter of integration timelines. But as Renat just mentioned, with more bridges comes fragmentation of liquidity, and that's where protocols like Thorn come into play. And maybe that's a great segue to my next question, which is, I'd love to get everyone's perspective on composability in DeFi. One, why is it important in general, and then two, like how does composability work for your particular protocol? I know Anton mentioned it a little bit about liquid staking, so we'll hit him at the end. Maybe Jake, you can start us off on where you see what the importance of composability is and where you see composability fitting into Thorn. Or the other way to say it also is DeFi money Legos. It started off as composability, and then it sort of adopted its crypto nomenclature as well. So you use either term. Jake, I think you're muted.
Yeah. Okay, so as I mentioned, the stablecoin have choose the value and high liquidity at the time. So especially in the market at the time, the market is unstable, and people go to the stablecoin, and people still have a high demand for trading stablecoin at that time. So that's why we create a Thorn protocol. And the reason is that why we choose the supply on Oasis to deploy the Thorn protocol. So Thorn in this way can inherit the main feature of supply is the privacy. We offer the convenient solution for users on this blockchain network, and we can offer the feature for the user swap stablecoin with the lowest slippage, as I mentioned before, and of course avoid the front run box is very important for the user. And then in this way we can offer the user the fact when trading. And the most important thing is supply enable private trading for the Thorn user. And as you know, there are a lot of the stable swap at the time in the market today. For example, we have Curve Finance on Ethereum, and on Oasis, on Oasis, we also have a stable swap, and so on. Other many, right? So Thorn has a USP from the other competitor because we integrate with the AI and innovative feature like trade privately, enhancing security and privacy. Cross-chain, so very important cross-chain. Though people hold the stablecoin on other blockchain network and go to the Oasis supply to swap in a private way, and then they also can get back the stablecoin again to the other chain. It's very keep secret during the process, and lowest slippage and gas fee. And we also offer the AI-enabled wallet based on the account traction, and offer users smart trading strategy across the protocol with our feature. So when you swap a large amount of stablecoin or close price pairs, it can trigger a huge slippage, making a price increase widely, right? So therefore stablecoin emerge as a game-changing solution for crypto market. So we believe that stable swap will continue to have a great impact on decentralized finance at that time. Therefore, Thorn stand there with a better privacy, followed by advanced privacy system based on the Oasis supply, and we position Thorn as an advanced stable swap in the market. So we have a unique feature, right? Okay, so this is the thing. And I think this benefit for the community of the Oasis user, because they would like to swap their stable swap in the privacy way, And also, we also can bring more liquidity from other protocol or other network to the Oasis network. It is very important for the ecosystem.
Yeah. Sure. I think that, like, in terms of stablecoins, that's exactly what it does. It allows you to connect one, protocols with protocols, but also ecosystems with ecosystems. Let's say we have this new bridge coming and we have our existing seller bridge. It allows the fragmentation of liquidity to be seamless, especially when you use AI, when you use account abstraction as Thorn plans to implement. And then, it also allows for, stablecoins from any ecosystem and assets from any ecosystem to seamlessly move to Sapphire without a lot of friction. But I think you have some collaborations with at least one of our guests today. So maybe, Lucien, maybe you can talk to us about where the Launchpad fits into the composability and how it empowers other dApps in the ecosystem.
Sure. So to be honest, we chose to build on the Oasis network on Sapphire because it was we seized an opportunity as there is no Launchpad yet in the ecosystem. So we are basically really interested and inspired by the potential of privacy within the cryptosphere in general. Smart privacy has a lot to offer. We want to build a place that makes it easy for entrepreneurs, founders to access funding and to finance their project safely. The main reason we built Oasis is that for Oasis to bloom, we need entrepreneurs to feel safe. They need to feel safe enough to engage and to take the risk to build something using this technology. Without this feeling of security, no entrepreneur or no visionary will build anything or build any platform with any technology. So we aspire to be one of the multiple reasons entrepreneurs and I don't know how to say it in English, ambitious people join Oasis network.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's not just on the entrepreneur side, but it's also on the community side, right? The community wants to feel safe. They want to feel like they have a say in the direction the ecosystem is going, which projects are getting funding, which projects are successful, and basically, which direction, whether it's DeFi, whether it's gaming, whether it's AI, they want to have, a voice as to the direction the ecosystem goes in. And that's what I really think Launchpads are successful at. I don't know if you have any extra words you want to say about that, Lucien.
Yeah, exactly. I also think that the community is really important because it could help us to take the right direction they want to take in the first place. The community is kind of the best indicator in the market, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, and then I think finally, maybe Anton, you spoke a little bit about it before, but if you want to say any more words, where do you think liquid staking fits into sort of the composability of an ecosystem?
So liquid staking tokens are pretty compatible with a lot of other dApps. As I already said, it can be integrated with CDPs, with lending protocols, with stable swap protocols, and with almost any dApp protocol that operates with ERC20 tokens. Because ERC 4626 is basically ERC20 token, which accumulates staking yield. So what else to say? One exciting feature of accumulated finance that you have is the omni-chain liquid staking for tokens. That means that initially we will deploy ROS liquid staking on Oasis Sapphire, and after this we can expand this into other EVM chains where ROS token exists. So, for example, if you buy ROS on BNB chain, maybe on PancakeSwap or on any other DApp on this EVM chain, then you don't have to breach these tokens to stake them. You can stake directly on accumulated finance, and our smart contracts will bridge it omni-chain and stake on Oasis consensus layer for you. And you will receive the LST token on the chain where you bought ROS initially. And on top of that, by the end of this year, we plan to launch the omni-chain transfers for all our LSTs. That means that if you have LSTs on other EVM chains, you can move them without any fees and without any waiting time, without unstaking into the Oasis Sapphire and back if you want. So
yeah, that's awesome. It's a great, quality of life update. Maybe that's say in comparison to maybe a liquid staking that more people are familiar with, like Lido. Like having these features on accumulated where you have sort of this omni-chain ability is just great user experience, great quality of life improvement. I just want to say, as we're coming towards, the 2/3, almost 3/4 of the way done with this call, I just want to encourage the community to ask any questions. We've got at least one question so far, but anyone who has any questions about any of these projects or the Oasis ecosystem, please share so we can address it at the end. But yeah, in summary, in terms of the way that I view composability and why I'm so excited about what all of these products are bringing to the ecosystem, it's like you can now have staked rows. Staked rows can be useful in Thorn, as Thorn needs to have a liquidity pool for rows and staked rows, so that you can seamlessly move liquidity from one to the other, and you have no 14-day waiting period, but you can just move into your liquid position. But at the same time, now you can use liquid staked rows as collateral on Vine potentially, so that you're sort of repaying your debt position and interest as you're earning your 2.5 or whatever the yield will be on the liquid staked rows, and you're repaying your debt or interest that you owe on Vine, so that you're basically borrowing for free. I don't know if that's exactly how it worked out, but it's a more, maybe let's say, attractive collateral type than just regular rows, but it has similar security properties. But then you can use the VUSD you borrow on Vine within Thorn to transfer into USDC, which then you can bridge to the Ethereum ecosystem. And it's sort of like all these parts coming together. Oh, and then you have Dausis, where Dausis is creating a launchpad for the Thorn ecosystem and the sort of dApps that are coming after that as well. And it's sort of like each one of these feeds into each other and sort of builds a comprehensive ecosystem where there's an abundance of opportunity and there's a fluid ability to move from one asset to the other, or one ecosystem to the other. And I think that's exactly what any ecosystem tries to achieve. So I'll give anyone, if that inspired anyone to say any last thoughts, I'll give you the floor. If not, we'll jump into the next question. Okay. So then the next topic I wanted to discuss is just about privacy. I'd love to get everyone's thoughts on where like confidentiality and privacy fit into DeFi. And then if you want to share, you can also talk about, where it fits into your particular protocol, but we can also just stay pretty general as to like why you think it's important in DeFi in general. Maybe let's start with Renat and we'll go through the circle again.
Have something to add on composability. I think there are like a couple of important aspects of it. One is would be the standards, and the second would be this ability to export for Oasis and Sapphire in particular to export privacy as a service to other chains. The first one are the standards like XERC20, which is being adopted by projects including accumulated finance. It's an example of how standardization can bring more usage, more utility, better, simpler products for end consumers. The main standards that actually kind of created the composability as a thing were probably ERC20 and 721. They enabled the very first early version of composability, where, for example, a token like DAI minted, right? You would be able to use it as collateral in Compound, right? Or lend this token. Asset management strategies become possible because of it, right? With the standards to be like, if there would be like layer 2, layer 3 concepts when it comes to standards, right? XERC20, which is the standard that is adopted by many projects now, which deal with basically it's adopted by token issuers who want their tokens to be breached to chains like Sapphire, right? And having a working example of XERC20 standard adopted by a project on Sapphire is a case study that says, yeah, it's doable. We can, as token, let's say, issuers from other chain, right? They will see Sapphire as one of those chains where it's already working, and this is an example of like a layer 2 composability on top of a standard ERC20 that extends and makes the tokens minted using the standard to be compatible with ERC20, inheriting composability benefits of everything that was done before, right? And extends it, doing a very special purpose job, right? Of making the cross-chain transfers and solving a huge problem for token issuers. How do they, let's say if I'm a token issuer of some asset, it could be a real world asset, it could be a native governance token, and I want to see my users to benefit from, let's say, Sapphire and privacy preserving applications, right? How do I breach the token to that chain for our users to get the benefits, right? And that's where the problems start of how do you breach your tokens to different chain, right? And this standard improves security. It allows token issuers to whitelist the specific breaches and have a multiple number of breaches that they would use, right? Including granularity of, let's say, how much would the specific breach, this is a brand new breach design, right? So we will set a rate limit, a maximum of how much of the total breached assets of our token, right? This breach would be allowed to take, let's say, maybe 10% allocation, right? So that we limit the exposure, limit the amount of risk we have, right? That brings obviously a larger, more established asset issuers to use this standard to bring these assets onto Sapphire, right? And another example of like a layer 2 standard that spins up, keeps spinning the flywheel of the composability is standard number 4626, which is kind of a wall token first being developed by the teams, contributors at Urn Finance and Beefy. which solve the problem of if you have an ERC20 token that represents your deposit in an investment pool, right, which then deploys assets into different strategies, right? The ERC20 token is very simple and does not answer questions like, how much assets do I have now after, let's say, 2 weeks of this deposit already working, making money, right? What is the net asset value, right? What is the amount of assets do I have now 2 weeks later after I made the deposit? Because I was minted, I was given a token, right? I still have the same 100,000 units of it, right? But the asset value changed. But the ERC20 token has no method to call. Tell me, please, what is this token is worth, right? So 4626 extends these standard capabilities of ERC20 and allows building asset management strategies, or even in money markets, in DeFi, also, I mean, even in stable coins, having your tokenized position to be smarter than just having a balance, how much you have, and being able to transfer it and nothing else, right? So it kind of these two examples of layer 2 composability standards that are like important to support the projects that bring implementations and approve that it's possible to have those implemented on Sapphire, because no one wants to be the guinea pig, right? It's very hard to be the first to implement something. But once you have projects like Accumulate Finance already using the standard, once you have it working, right, it's super easy for followers to come in, right, and bring more assets to Sapphire and so on. And the second topic I wanted to say about like composability is probably an opportunity I'm seeing for Oasis and Sapphire in particular, is this concept that let's coin it now. It's exporting privacy to any other chains, right? I see an opportunity where, as an economy, let's say every chain out there, every protocol, most of those in Web3, in crypto, have their own token, right? Own token is kind of your own currency, right? And each of our projects it's typically an end-sided marketplace with demand side, supply side. So it's similar to an economy, right? That has workers, that has economic participants, that has economic activity, and it has its own currency, right? And if you now apply the concept of we're a small nation state with our own economy, our own currency, our own economic participants. One thing that how macroeconomics like look at different nation states, like they look at it as using things like what are the monetary inflows, right? Monetary outflows between two different economies, trade balance, imbalance, right? And so the more services, normally, if we're, let's say, a small country, right? If we find something we can export in large quantities, like oil or fish, like salmon, right? Like, or we have a lot of timber, or we have some resource that is scarce out there, right? The more we as a nation state can export, the more we can receive of other people's currency, right, with which we will go and spend in our own economy, the more we earn. So this concept is basically, I think that we can export privacy to other chains and attract workloads that would come to Sapphire from other places because we have it and they don't. And it's a scarce resource, so let's export this scarce resource. And that's where we would need more bridges, more secure bridges. And for us, let's say, as we're planning to get Wine Money project to be relaunched, revamped, right? We do need collaterals. We do need different bridges. And so we need assets, both native and foreign, right? So let's bring them on board. Looking forward for it.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably talk about those topics alone for an hour with you or not. But yeah, I guess like one area that I've always found interesting is having a CDP stablecoin that's sort of, like on Sapphire, it can be private, maybe on other chains it's public. And then you can sort of have the privacy also to the Sapphire, where you can send from Ethereum, let's say, to Avalanche, and it routes through Sapphire. And now you have basically private cross-chain sending of a stablecoin from one chain to another using collateral. These are all things I've thought about. Maybe they're coming in the future for Vine. But yeah, I think, privacy is maybe not so relevant to liquid staking, but I'd love to learn more about how Thorn and Oasis are using privacy within their protocols. Maybe Lucian, you can go first.
Yeah, thanks. So basically within the Launchpad, it's really difficult for us to implement privacy because of the really difficult legal framework we have to work with for the Launchpad. But we are trying to implement privacy. So we implemented privacy on the DAO. So voting is private. You can't see which wallet voted what. And we are trying to add privacy on other functions. I can't speak too much about it yet. We will unveil them in the next few days, and you'll get more information about those functions, next week, I think.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear it. And Jake, are you planning on using privacy within Thorn? And if so, how?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I think very simply, stable exchange are very common now, but it's public on other networks. So do we want everyone to see your transaction? No, right? We want our transaction to be kept confidential and private, and Thorn is here on Sapphire to help with that. And in this way, we based on 4 keywords we want to include in the Thorn. The first one is stable swap and privacy enable swap, and cross-chain, and also AI wallet. So I would like to have some work for the AI wallet, so you can pay protocol fee with any token create or be subjected trading strategy such as recipe, auto trade, depositing, borrowing, and so on. So it means it all being kept secret, confidential with our wallet and on the supply. And your transaction information and asset are raw only. That to me is very great, and I believe to you is also desirable feature in the blockchain world. And by the way, Thorn stand here for you. Yeah.
In traditional finance, as much as people pretend like privacy is taboo, or like the government doesn't want it, like in America, at least, like the SEC requires your trades to be private, right? So there is a level of privacy that we see in traditional finance. Sorry, I hear some Weaver Thorn. I think that basically, this is a desirable feature, especially if you're a whale or you're a large entity. Like privacy is critical if you ever want to get into the space, because you don't want your competitors seeing what you're doing. So my last question, and then I'll get into some of the community questions. I'm just trying to be conscious of time. Is just what's coming next for your protocols, respectively, and like if there's any big news or there's anything you want to share with your community, and then where can they follow you and keep up to date? Maybe Anton, you can go first.
So actually, there was a question about liquid staking, which
we'll get to that. After this.
Okay. So I already mentioned our plans with Oasis integration. So at first we launched liquid staking on Oasis Sapphire. Then we expanded on other EVM chains where ROS token exists and being traded. And then we enable cross-chain transfers of LSTs between different EVM chains. And on top of that, we plan to make an airdrop of our own token by the end of this year. And all liquid stakers of ROS token on Accumulate Finance will be eligible to participate in this airdrop by earning weekly XP points on our platform for staking. And these points will be converted into the tokens upon the airdrop event.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, there's no reason not to do it, right? It's like you get liquidity for your staked rows, so you can exit quickly. You can potentially use it in other DeFi protocols like Thorn, like Protofire, and it qualifies you for an airdrop. So, yeah, hopefully everyone is excited about liquid staking and the opportunity that exists there. Jake, what's coming next for Thorn?
Oh yes, in next month we launch on the mainnet Oasis. This is very important. Our plan in the next month, and alongside with the farming liquidity pool and the paymaster feature of AI wallet, this is our feature in the next we would like to offer to user. And after the going to mainnet, we have a campaign to attract liquidity to our pool. So we would like to have some people or investors come to our protocol and open the pool, And besides creating government function, LP staking, cross-chain swap function via AI-enabled wallet, and finally lending protocol. And we will continue to expand, the partner outside. For example, at the time we integrate the O wallet. This is very popular. This is a wallet based on the web browser powered by Origin. So we would like to get more users from Origin to Oasis. Supply is very important, and get more liquidity from them to our network. So in this way, user can use a lot of the functionality that offer from the Thorn in the next month. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And about O wallet, yeah, I mean, O wallet is the only mobile wallet that supports both Consensus and Sapphire. So it's a one-stop shop right now. We're talking to them, and it's thanks to the great work that Thorn did integrating them. Potentially, we can get them to support Consensus to Sapphire deposits and withdrawals. At which point, it'll basically be a one-stop shop for anything you need within all of Oasis. And so we're really excited to work with them. We're really excited to work with Thorn, and we thank you guys for sort of spearheading that initiative. Lucian, Dausis, what's coming next for you guys?
So yeah, first we got a question regarding our plans to go cross-chain or no. I can confirm that we plan to go cross-chain. We are just not speaking about it yet because we first want to launch a final product on Oasis Sapphire only. But down the line, just after our launch, we will communicate more about our cross-chain infrastructure. And regarding the plans, that what is coming in the next few days, weeks, months. So we are really excited because part of the Oasis platform will go live on mainnet before we have TGE and before we have our own IDO. So I can't say much, but the creative community members or any motivated people will be happy with what is coming because they will be able to work with the Oasis or to build with the Oasis. And after this function is mainnet, we will have a final testnet and then finally our IDO.
Awesome, very excited, and yeah, for anyone who's wondering, we're very excited to work with Thorn. We find it to be very professional, great launch pad in terms of the designs they've shared with us, and so we'll hopefully be having lots of products launched with them in the near future. Finally, Renat, what's coming next for Vine?
There are three things on our plate right now. Number one is assembling a core dev team for Wine Money to relaunch the project. The second is to define a plan of relaunching. And third, getting to know projects in the Oasis Sapphire ecosystem, both the teams that are building and those who are considering to deploy on Sapphire, specifically projects that are token issuers who either have the assets that there could be tokenizing some assets, or it could be governance tokens or LP tokens from DEXs. Those who are who would like to get listed as collateral, we would like to understand and map out the entire ecosystem, both present and likely future state of this, to get to know the teams who are either token issuers or have some tokens in their ecosystem, and those who would like to get those assets listed as collateral. So these are the three things on my plate.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Renat. And I'm sure you'll be in touch with the community soon. I know we're talking about potentially a blog post once we sort a few things out. So anyone in the community who has more questions, be assured that those questions will be answered in the near future. So now we're going to hop to some community questions. Most of them are for Oasis, but there is one for accumulated finance. Everyone else, I know we've gone over time, so if you have somewhere to be, you guys can hop off. Just say your buys if you need to go somewhere. If not, we'll let accumulated finance answer their questions, and then I'll answer the rest.
So the question is, if the liquid staking helps with securing the consensus layer of the Oasis network, and so when you stake tokens in the liquid staking, basically you help securing the consensus layer, and also you help the decentralization of the network, because all tokens in the liquid staking will be permissionlessly delegated to multiple validators on the consensus layer directly. And so in this way, as more liquid staking will grow, as wider set of validators we will be delegating these tokens to, in order to increase decentralization and not create a centralization of the staking.
Yeah, if I can just add my 2 cents. Basically, what it does to help with it incentivizes people to stake, because they no longer have this sort of trade-off where they have to either be staked or participate in DeFi or the ecosystem. They can do both at the same time, so they can have their cake and eat it too. And that's where I really think liquid staking, opens up all the possibilities within any ecosystem. So I'm going to quickly run through the rest of the community questions. Actually, there's one for Thorn. What is Oasis's vision with Thorn protocol, and how does it benefit both communities? Thorn, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, thanks for the question. So our vision is to become a stable asset exchange protocol, that ensures the greatest privacy based on the supply of Oasis. So this is our vision. This is very, very big one vision. So on the way to do that, we have to bring a lot of the feature advantage to our community, and also the Oasis community, like the stable swap with privacy, liquidity, AI enabled wallet with a lot of the function based on AI data analytics, and also the lending in the future. So in this way, we enable a lot of the function and utility for our token, and also for the user, and also for the Oasis community.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, on my side, I think we talked about it a bit, but basically, one, it helps a lot with fragmentation. So whether it's different ERC20 standards or different bridged asset, let's say a USDC from one bridge or a USDC from another bridge, it basically solves this liquidity fragmentation, or helps solve this liquidity fragmentation. And that's like a major use case for where it helps the community, the ecosystem. Additionally, they have inroads at a ride chain, so it connects us to the Cosmos ecosystem. And then, this O wallet, it has been a great integration, as it potentially will solve a lot of UX problems. If we can get, a mobile wallet that, has support for consensus, so it has support for staking, it has support for Sapphire, so it has support for DeFi, and then it has support for transfers between the two. Currently, it doesn't have the transfer aspect, but we are in talks to try to get that to happen. I'm going to try to speed through this because I know we're already like 10 minutes over. What's the latest on synthetic rose? So that was a collaboration announced, I think, in February with Synther. Synther is on testnet right now. They haven't launched their mainnet, but before they were able to integrate with Oasis, they needed one of their bridging partners to integrate with Oasis. The bridge that I teased earlier is one of those partners, and so hopefully I'll have more news for you on that soon after the new bridge comes in end of July. With Illuminex migrating to Uniswap, how does it work as the product is built on Oasis Sapphire? So is Uniswap and Sapphire in collab? No, I wouldn't say that. Uniswap is a decentralized protocol. So basically what happened is Illuminex migrated their token to Uniswap. I think that was mostly in order to reach a larger community and basically provide liquidity. As it was difficult to get to Sapphire, and so they had demand from community members that had trouble getting to Sapphire to move some of the liquidity over either to a SEXT or to Uniswap. So they decided to move to Uniswap. But the liquidity within Illuminex and the dApp itself still exists on Sapphire. So it's still functioning the way it did. The only thing that moved over was their governance token liquidity, and I don't think it means that it's a collaboration with Uniswap. Quick question for that. Okay, we answered that one. How does everyone see all of your protocols drawing in users cross-chain to maximize reach? I think we'll probably skip that one for now. There's one last question for community finance, and then I think we'll sign off. Are you going to release a reward program for Oasis testnet user or only on the mainnet?
I'll launch on the mainnet very soon. I expect within 1 month or so, the rewards will be on the mainnet.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you guys for spending a little bit more time on this call than we had initially planned. I think it was a great conversation. I think our community is probably pretty excited, and we answered a lot of their questions. So with that, I guess I say goodbye and to the community, and thank you for attendance, and thank you guys all for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.